Environment Minister Greg Hunt says the carbon price doesn't do the job.
The strange thing about the carbon tax was that emissions went up, not down, from 560 to 637 million tonnes.
It sounds like Mr Hunt's talking about what's happened to emissions since the carbon price was put in place, but he's not. The 637 million tonnes is actually a projection of what emissions are likely to be in 2020, 7 years from now. And the same modelling shows that emissions would be a further 8% higher by 2020 without a carbon price. But that's all projected modelling, a best guess. So let's look at what's actually happened. In the first 6 months of the carbon price, total emissions were roughly equal to the same period the year before. But when we look at the sectors covered by the carbon price, and that includes parts of the electricity, gas and manufacturing sectors, emissions were 1% lower. And in one of those sectors, electricity, emissions fell by 7% to their lowest level in a decade. But was that directly because of the carbon price? Well, we can't say for sure. Emissions do different things in different sectors for different reasons. Let's look at electricity though. Several factors contributed to the drop in emissions there. Some, like increased renewable energy sources and higher electricity prices, had something to do with the carbon price. But others, like a flood that shut down a coal-fired power plant, had nothing to do with the carbon price. So it's difficult to know in absolute terms what's been happening to emissions as a result of the carbon price alone. The government's forecasts show future emissions will be lower with a carbon price than without one. So, Mr Hunt's claim is misleading because he used a projected figure and failed to mention the same modelling shows emissions would go up further if a carbon price wasn't in place. That's a fact check. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter.